Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something simple and yet powerful. The world is loud. Everyone has an opinion. Everyone is running somewhere, chasing something, proving something. And in all that noise, most people lose the one thing that actually decides victory. Focus. Not on them, not on their progress, not on their approval. On you. Because the moment you stop measuring your life against someone else's timeline, you reclaim your strength. The moment your eyes leave the distractions and turn inward, you begin to grow. You don't win by watching others run. You win by mastering your own pace. Comparison is a quiet thief. It doesn't break down the door or announce its arrival. It slips in gently, whispering doubts into your mind while you're not paying attention. One moment you are focused, moving forward, doing your work with purpose. The next moment, you're looking sideways, watching someone else's journey, measuring your life against theirs, questioning your own worth. And just like that, your progress slows. You see, the moment you compare yourself to another person, you stop listening to your own rhythm. You forget that growth is not a race with a finish line at the same place for everyone. Some paths are longer, some are steeper. Some require patience before they reveal their reward. But comparison doesn't care about context. It only shows you the highlight, never the hardship. The applause, never the sleepless nights. The victory, never the scars. When you compare, you trade your focus for frustration. You spend energy analyzing someone else's chapter while neglecting your own page. And energy is precious. It is the fuel of discipline, the heartbeat of consistency. Every time you give it away to comparison, you weaken the very force that could move you forward. Comparison convinces you that you're behind, even when you're exactly where you need to be. It makes you rush when you should be learning. It makes you doubt when you should be building. It tells you that success has a deadline, that if you haven't arrived yet, you've failed. But that voice is lying to you. Progress cannot be rushed, and purpose cannot be copied. The truth is, no one else has your story. No one else has your background, your struggles, your lessons, or your potential. What worked for them may not work for you. What broke them may strengthen you. But comparison blinds you to this truth. It pulls your eyes away from your own road and makes you stumble over obstacles you would have seen if you were focused ahead. When you stop comparing, something powerful happens. You begin to move with clarity instead of pressure. You start appreciating small wins instead of dismissing them. You understand that slow progress is still progress and steady growth is unstoppable. You stop asking, why them? And start asking, what can I improve today? That shift changes everything. Focus on your steps, not someone else's distance. Focus on your effort, not their results. Because the only race that matters is the one between who you were yesterday and who you choose to become today. And when you stay locked into your own journey, comparison loses its grip. That is when progress accelerates. That is when confidence returns. And that is when you realize you were never behind. Focus is not just a skill. It is a force, an invisible strength that decides whether your energy builds something meaningful or disappears into nothing. Every day, life pulls at you from every direction. Noise, opinions, distractions, fears, unfinished thoughts. And without focus, your power gets scattered, divided into pieces too small to create change. But the moment you choose to focus, everything begins to align. Focus is what turns effort into progress. You can work hard, but without direction, hard work becomes exhaustion. You can stay busy, but without focus, business becomes a disguise for stagnation. Focus gives your actions purpose. It tells your mind where to go and your energy where to stay. And when your energy stops wandering, it becomes unstoppable. You see, power doesn't come from doing everything. It comes from doing the right things repeatedly with intention. Focus narrows the field. It removes the unnecessary. It silences the chaos and brings clarity. In that clarity, you start to see opportunities that were always there, hidden behind distraction. When you focus, your confidence grows. Not because the world suddenly approves of you, but because you begin to trust yourself. You know what you're working toward. You know why you're doing it. That certainty becomes strength. And strength changes how you walk into rooms, how you speak, how you respond to pressure. Distraction weakens you without you even noticing. It keeps you jumping from thought to thought, goal to goal, never staying long enough to build anything solid. It convinces you that multitasking is productivity, when in reality it's delusion. Focus, on the other hand, concentrates your effort until it gains weight, until it carries momentum. Think about this. Every meaningful achievement in history required sustained attention. Nothing great was built in fragments. Focus is the difference between starting and finishing, between intention and impact. It is what allows ordinary effort to produce extraordinary results. When you focus on improving one habit, one skill, one decision at a time, you reclaim control over your life. You stop reacting to everything around you and start responding with purpose. You don't need to move fast. You need to move forward with awareness. Focus also teaches you patience. It reminds you that growth is a process, not an event. That mastery comes from repetition, not shortcuts. And as days turn into weeks and weeks into months, the quiet power of focus begins to show itself. Suddenly, things that once felt impossible start to feel familiar. This is how power is built, not in moments of intensity, but in seasons of commitment. So protect your focus. Guard it like something valuable, because it is. Where your attention goes, your life follows. And when you focus on what truly matters, you don't just make progress, you become powerful. Competition is loud. It demands attention, comparison, and urgency. It pushes you to look outward, to measure your worth against someone else's performance. Consistency, on the other hand, is quiet. It doesn't seek applause. It doesn't rush. It simply shows up, again and again, doing the work that most people abandon when motivation fades. And that is why consistency always wins. You don't outperform others by trying to beat them. You outperform them by refusing to quit on yourself. Consistency is the decision to return to your craft even on days when nothing feels inspiring. It's choosing discipline when excitement disappears. Anyone can work hard when the energy is high and the path is clear. But the real difference is made in ordinary moments. The days that feel slow, unnoticed, and unrewarded, those days are building something deeper than talent. They are building endurance. Competition feeds the ego. Consistency feeds the future. When you focus on competing, you chase quick results. You rush progress. You cut corners to keep up. But consistency understands something competition forgets. Lasting success is not built in sprints, but in steady movement forward. One step at a time, one decision repeated with care. Every small action, done consistently, compounds. Like drops of water shaping stone, consistency reshapes your identity. You don't just do the work. You become the kind of person who does the work. And that transformation is powerful. Because once discipline becomes part of who you are, results are no longer a matter of chance. Most people don't fail because they lack ability. They fail because they stop too soon. They underestimate what small, daily effort can become over time. Consistency is patient enough to let progress unfold naturally. It doesn't demand immediate proof. It trusts the process. And here's the truth many don't want to hear: you don't need to be the best. You need to be the most committed. The person who shows up after everyone else gets distracted. The one who keeps building while others keep comparing. That quiet commitment separates those who dream from those who achieve. Consistency also frees you from pressure. You stop obsessing over outcomes and start focusing on actions. You understand that today's job is not to win, it's to show up. And tomorrow you'll do it again. Over time, that reliability becomes your advantage. There will be days when progress feels invisible, days when you question whether it's working. But consistency doesn't ask for reassurance. It asks for trust. Trust that effort matters even when results haven't arrived yet. Because one day, without warning, everything connects. Skills sharpen. Confidence settles in. Momentum takes over. And while others wonder how you got so far, you'll know the truth. You didn't race them. You didn't chase them. You simply stayed consistent. And that is how you win. Silence is often misunderstood. People mistake it for weakness, for hesitation, for a lack of confidence. But the truth is, silence is one of the most powerful places a person can stand. Because while the world is busy talking, explaining, proving, and performing, silence is where real strength is being built. When you move in silence, you remove the pressure to impress. You stop seeking approval and start seeking progress. You no longer feel the need to announce your plans or defend your dreams. You let your actions speak in a language that needs no translation. And in that quiet, something important happens. You begin to trust yourself. Silence gives you space to grow without interference. Opinions lose their grip when they are not invited in. Doubt weakens when it has no audience. Every time you share your goals too early, you expose them to noise, judgment, comparison, and distraction. Silence protects your vision until it's strong enough to stand on its own. Strength is not forged in attention. It is forged in repetition. In early mornings when no one is watching. In late nights when quitting would be easier than continuing. Silence allows you to focus on the work, not the reaction, and that focus sharpens discipline. The loudest people are often the most uncertain. They need constant validation to feel real. But those who are building something meaningful don't have time to explain themselves. They understand that progress doesn't require permission, and growth doesn't need applause. Silence also teaches restraint. It trains you to respond instead of react, to listen instead of interrupt, to observe instead of assume. In that restraint, emotional strength develops. You become less affected by criticism and less distracted by praise. Your sense of worth stabilizes, no longer rising and falling with outside opinions. There is a calm confidence that comes from moving quietly, a grounded presence. You don't rush to prove anything because you know where you're headed. That certainty doesn't come from words. It comes from preparation, from knowing you've put in the work when no one was looking. History is filled with people who emerged stronger than expected because they were underestimated. While others were watching the noise, they were refining their craft. While others were talking about success, they were practicing it. Silence gave them time to improve, time to mature, time to become undeniable. And when the results finally arrive, they don't need an introduction. They speak for themselves. Silence is not hiding. It is preparing. It is choosing substance over show. It is understanding that strength grows best when it's not rushed or exposed too early. When you stay silent, you conserve energy. You move with intention. You build depth instead of drama. So don't worry about being heard right now. Worry about becoming strong enough to be felt later. Because when your moment comes, you won't need to say a word. Before you can conquer the world, you must first conquer yourself. That is the battle most people avoid, because it's quiet, demanding, and unforgiving. There are no cheers in self-mastery, no instant rewards. Just you, your habits, your thoughts, your impulses, and the discipline required to lead them instead of being led by them. Self-mastery begins the moment you stop blaming circumstances and start taking responsibility. Responsibility for your reactions. Responsibility for your choices. Responsibility for the way you speak to yourself when no one else is listening. Because the strongest enemy you will ever face is not outside of you. It lies within. Your mind can either be your greatest weapon or your deepest prison. Uncontrolled, it magnifies fear, doubt, and distraction. Trained, it becomes focused, calm, and resilient. Self-mastery is learning to pause instead of panic, to think instead of react, to choose growth instead of comfort. Anyone can feel motivated when conditions are perfect, but self-mastery shows up when conditions are heavy. When emotions rise and discipline must step in. When excuses are tempting and commitment must answer. It is the ability to do what needs to be done, even when every part of you wants to walk away. True victory isn't loud. It's internal. It's waking up and choosing discipline over distraction. It's controlling your time instead of letting it control you. It's saying no to what feels good now for what will feel right later. These small, unseen decisions shape your future more than any single dramatic moment ever could. When you master yourself, external chaos loses its power. Criticism doesn't shake you as easily. Pressure doesn't break you as quickly. You stop being controlled by moods and start being guided by purpose. That stability becomes confidence. Not the fragile kind that depends on praise, but the deep kind that comes from knowing who you are. Self-mastery also teaches patience. You stop expecting overnight results and start respecting long-term progress. You understand that growth is not about intensity but consistency. About returning to the work again and again, refining your character along the way. The world may reward talent, but it bows to discipline. Talent can open a door, but self-mastery keeps you in the room. It sharpens your focus. It strengthens your resilience. It allows you to stay steady when others burn out or break under pressure. And here's the truth: once you master yourself, nothing external can truly defeat you. Circumstances may challenge you, people may doubt you, delays may test you, but you remain grounded because your victory is not dependent on outcomes. It is rooted in control: control of your mind, control of your actions, control of your direction. That is real power. And when you reach that level of self-mastery, success is no longer a question of if, only when. Patience is not passive. It is not waiting with crossed arms and fading hope. Patience is active strength. It is the ability to keep moving forward without demanding immediate proof that your effort is working. In a world obsessed with speed, patience becomes a rare discipline, and a powerful one. Most people quit not because the path is wrong, but because the timing feels unfair. They mistake delay for denial. They assume that if results don't arrive quickly, they never will. But purpose does not reveal itself on a schedule designed for comfort. It unfolds when you are ready to carry it. Patience trains you to trust the process even when the progress is invisible. It teaches you to stay committed during the quiet seasons, the ones that test your belief more than your ability. Those seasons are not empty. They are formative. They are shaping your character, strengthening your resolve, and refining your intentions. Without patience, purpose becomes fragile. Rushed goals collapse under pressure. Half-formed visions break at the first sign of resistance. Patience gives your purpose time to mature. It deepens your understanding of why you started and who you are becoming along the way. There is a reason certain doors don't open right away. If they did, you might walk through them unprepared. Patience builds the emotional and mental strength required to sustain success. It allows you to grow into your goals instead of outgrowing them too soon. When you are patient, you stop forcing outcomes. You stop chasing shortcuts. You begin to respect timing, and in that respect, your focus sharpens. You make better decisions. You choose alignment over urgency. You learn that moving at the right pace is more powerful than moving fast. Patience also protects you from comparison. You understand that everyone's journey unfolds differently, that what arrives early for one person may arrive later for another, but with greater depth and meaning. You stop measuring success by speed and start measuring it by substance. The strongest people are not the ones who arrive first. They are the ones who endure. The ones who stay steady when doubt whispers that it's taking too long. The ones who continue refining their craft while others rush ahead unprepared. Purpose requires patience because purpose carries responsibility. It asks you to become someone capable of handling what you're asking for. That transformation doesn't happen overnight. It happens in moments of waiting, choosing, adjusting, and staying faithful to the work. One day, the timing will make sense. The delays will reveal their purpose. The lessons will connect. And you'll realize that patience didn't slow you down. It prepared you. So don't rush your becoming. Don't resent the waiting. Don't abandon the process. Patience is not the absence of movement. It is movement with wisdom. And when your moment finally arrives, you will step into it ready, grounded, focused, and unshakable. Your journey was never meant to look like anyone else's. It was designed with a different starting point, a different pace, and a different purpose. Yet so many people spend their lives trying to walk in someone else's footsteps, wondering why the road feels uncomfortable, why the progress feels forced. The truth is simple: you are not late, lost, or broken. You are just on your own path. Every life carries a distinct rhythm. Some lessons come early. Others arrive only after patience and pain have done their work. What looks like delay from the outside is often preparation on the inside. Your experiences, your struggles, your detours, they are not mistakes. They are shaping you in ways no shortcut ever could. When you accept that your journey is unique, a heavy burden lifts. You stop chasing definitions of success that were never meant for you. You stop comparing timelines. You stop questioning your worth based on someone else's achievements. Instead, you begin to listen to your instincts, your values, your calling. Your journey includes challenges specifically chosen to strengthen you. The obstacles you face are not random. They are building resilience, empathy, and wisdom. What once felt like setbacks begin to reveal themselves as training, and training prepares you for responsibilities you cannot yet see. No two victories carry the same meaning. What comes easily to one person may cost another years of effort. But effort adds depth, struggle adds perspective, and the journey you fight for becomes the one you truly value. That is why your path matters. Not because it is easy, but because it is yours. When you honor your own journey, confidence grows naturally. You no longer need validation because you understand your progress in context. You know how far you've come, even if others don't. That quiet understanding becomes strength, a strength that does not need approval to exist. Your story will speak to the right people at the right time. Not everyone will understand it, and that's okay. It wasn't written for everyone. It was written to shape you, to prepare you, to place you where you can make an impact that only you can make. The world doesn't need another copy. It needs your perspective, your voice, your way of overcoming. When you fully embrace your journey, you stop resisting who you are becoming. You move forward with clarity instead of confusion, with purpose instead of pressure. One day, you will look back and realize that every delay had meaning. Every struggle added strength. Every detour redirected you towards something greater. And you will be grateful that you didn't arrive too soon, because arriving unprepared would have cost you more than waiting ever did. So walk your path with patience. Carry your lessons with pride. Trust the road beneath your feet. Because the moment you fully accept your journey, you stop trying to win someone else's race and start winning your own. So remember this. When you stop competing, comparing, and explaining, when you choose focus over noise, discipline over distraction, and patience over pressure, everything begins to change. Your power has always been within your control. Your victory